Welcome to the Wellsprings at Image Grove. Today, Ernest will introduce himself and what we're going to concentrate on. So please.
Yes, of course. I think by now your viewers have come to know me, simply by Ernest, right? I mean, we've done so many sessions together, Janet, and throughout the years that I've known you, it's always been something that really has been an intricate part of what I've been practicing and keeping my sanity in the midst of a lot of insanity I found myself in, especially while I was behind the walls, in prison, where I first met you, and meeting you in prison. I was introduced to aesthetic imaging that you were a facilitator of, you were training of. You came in with AVP.
The Alternatives to Violence Project.
Yeah, and that in itself has been part of my experience ever since in a way of realizing the benefits of eidetic imaging, and the way in which I was able to progressively move forward and getting a lot of things done successfully, in a way that I can really attribute eidetic imaging being a powerful influencer. And as a result, you've introduced me to a lot of other things also. One of the things I have an opportunity to share now is a particular book in which you introduced me to. It's called Farming While Black. It's Soul Fire Farm's Practical Guide to Liberation of the Land. And having read that, it just, took me to a place in the time when I used to live in the South on a farm with my grandparents. And we've done eidetic imaging on that also. And this book really speaks to that whole time and place of my life in a very personal way. And Soul Fire Farm is a progressive organization that Leah Penniman started. She's the founder. And I had an opportunity on Black History Month a couple of years ago to choose her as the person in which I did my presentation on. Most of the other men, they chose, traditional figures such as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Frederick Douglass, Carter, George Washington Carter, Carver, and of course the founder of Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson. So as a result, I chose Leah Penniman because I wanted to really bring forth that which she's established herself in the present day need, in which a new generation is ushering in and speaking to that, which is so significant to us as a people, African Americans, Black people here. And Leah Penniman, Soul Fire Farm's Practical Guide to Liberation on Land, I chose her because the ancestors whisper in her ear in such a way that she listens, and she manifests the fruits of the spirit as a result of understanding what's been said and what needs to be said, and as a result, what needs to be done. Especially when it comes to food sovereignty. So many people having food challenges in this country where you never think that happens. And the history and the economical and political and social forces that she sheds light on really is something that people need to be conscious of in their relationships. And she speaks about the isms.
What does she list as the isms?
Well, some of the isms is racism, colonialism, elitism, classism, sexism, ageism, ableism, all those things needs to be addressed. And I think eidetic imaging is that which we have an opportunity to realize how to address that. And in saying that, I want to read an excerpt from this book. And this particular excerpt, it was something quoted. It was quoted by a person whom you also gave me a book of, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Ta-Nehisi Coates is a prolific author. He was instrumental in making of the movie Black Panthers. But right here, he says, with all our phrasing, race relations, social chasms, racial justice, racial profiling, white privilege, even white supremacy, serves to obscure that racism is a visceral experience, that it dislodges brains, blocks airways, rips muscles, extracts organs, cracks bones, breaks teeth. We must never look away from this. You must always remember that the sociology, the history, the economics, the graphs, the charts, the regressions, all land with great violence upon the body. You know, and that in itself is from a particular chapter about uprooting racism. Yes, in Pimen's book. Yes. And in addressing that, she goes on to also address the isms, and she gives ways in which people can understand how to do that. Yeah, and as a result, it gave us the opportunity to want to collaborate in a way in which we understand her work and we identify with it and we move within the same spirit, you know.
Well, I'm really glad that you read that quote, since it centers the attention on the body, which is what makes eidetic imaging worthwhile, because it is a new form of concentration. We follow certain new steps for concentration that let us see the animating images that play like movies in front of our mind's eye. And while they're doing that, they're playing our bodies, which are their instruments. And so when we concentrate on them and share them methodically, we get to see exactly what's moving us and what's motivating us and what's at the ready to transform us in exactly the ways we need to change. So I'm glad you just centered on that immediately, because then this subject was of infinite conflict and confusion and argument becomes dramatically clear and efficiently so, because people can see rather rapidly how to get out of the bad feelings and the twists and the turns that keep repeatedly causing the same old problems over and over and over again, unless we realize that we have the bounce in us, we have the natural resilience in us to rise above and see beyond these twistings that we've been allowing take over. That this understanding we're going to demonstrate allows us to experience our own presence more clearly. And in doing so, then we can experience other people's presence with far more understanding. And therefore, we can be supportive instead of conflictual in relating. And this is a matter of becoming more and more understanding through self and mutual illumination. When you have a feeling for the fluent dynamics of these images that we're working with, you don't get stuck with categories that are the source of isms. Isms are categorical. Eidetic images are fluent, dynamic entities that enable us to see our way clear.
I think you said something earlier about it being the way in which we see our identities, contents about character, things of that nature. But you know, to emphasize what it is that you were just sharing, yeah, that takes me to another book that you yourself introduced me to. Yes. And this particular book is called Karma, the Book of Life. And in the process of doing more research after having read the book, we looked on the website. And the website had a particular aspect of it called the regeneration forms. And we noticed Leah Cunningham. And then we was like really in awe of the fact that here's Leah again. And so as a result, we decided to reach out to her because we continuously are able to find ourselves trotting the same path. You know, because the book Carbon, the book of life, really speaks to being able to transcend those particular boundaries in which people continuously find themselves caught in, you know. And there's a nexus portion of that whole uh, work that Hawking is doing. Paul Hawking, author of the book, and the founder of that particular site in which we were on, and we saw Leo. He has a way of establishing the nexus between communities of faith, between communities that wouldn't traditionally be able to come together because of those particular boundaries. He's found ways in which to transcend them.
He understands that what we need is cooperation, collaboration, instead of
Yeah,
antagonism,
Yeah.
antagonism.
yeah. So as a result, we went on the site and we fill out the application and to establish a link, you know, where we can ourselves be a part of that whole cooperative effort. I say that to simply,
And we ourselves, people of all ages,
yeah,
not just the adults in the room, but from early age on, recognizing these gifts and powers of self and mutualization, these gifts and powers of self and mutual illumination that are built into us. We've simply just been overlooking them. We've been talking them out of our sight. But now when we systematically look into them the way we're about to show you, they let us see exactly what is motivating us and what can change us in the ways we need to change, and is naturally ready to do so. So that healing dynamic is built into us, but we've been overlooking it and preferring antagonistic communication over this self and mutually communicative communication. Do you have a sense now of what you would like to demonstrate?
well, yeah, I want to address the isms, you know, address the isms in such a way that, you know, it speaks over here, and address the isms in such a way that authentic imaging allows me to be able to see for myself in a very personal way, so that hopefully others can see for themselves through reciprocal visioning how it can also apply in their lives. And
So as you know, eidetic imaging is really a new medium for most people because it consists largely of us concentrating extensively on these animating images that are always making the body-mind connection. And we're used to running on verbal, categorical thinking and reasoning, and that we have been leaving the body out of our picture. So this is really beyond our powers of understanding by explanation. The only way for people to have any idea of what we're talking about is for us to show us. So what would be a good image to just get the essential nature of eidetic imaging, both as to making the body-mind connection and experiencing the transformative nature of these images?
yeah, well, I was looking at something as you were speaking, and this image consists of when I was with my grandfather. You know, my grandfather, he has, or he had a farm. It's no longer a farm. It's still there. The land is there, but no one farms it like he ever did. He had like 75 acres, and he farmed at least 60 acres of that. And he was able to really accomplish a lot agriculturally for the community and, you know, for the family and farming that land. And I used to love to live on that farm. That was, I think, one of the best parts of my life as a child. And he used to let me, as I see it now in the image, load the truck up the produce to take it to the market in the morning. The market not only consisted of an open air market, but farmers would come and sell their goods. but also to supermarkets, the places where he had contracts. And the truck was a big truck, you know, big ones, big box trucks. And we would load up all the fruits and baskets and things of that nature. And it was such a variety, you know. You have watermelons, cucumbers, tomatoes, okra, squash, sweet potatoes. There was so many things. And going to the market, we went to this one particular place, and he went in first while I waited out in the truck. And I can see it plain as day. He comes back out. He's a little frustrated. He's a little disturbed. And in being that way, I myself become inquisitive as to why. And I asked him, is everything all right, Papa? So he says, well, you know, I think you would be better at making this sale than me. He said, you know, there's a butcher, and the butcher is the one who handles the sales at this particular store because he has a lot to do with owning business. So he said, go in and ask him what he would like his next order to be, and let him know what we got, and see what he'd like to purchase. So I went in, and I see this guy, the butcher, with a white jacket on. He's in the butcher section in the back, and he's chopping. He has blood all over his white coat, you know, quite naturally. Uh, and he's chopping his meat, and he looks at me, and the look in his eyes is one that's really intense. It's rather intimidating, actually. And so I go to him and I say, hello, my name is Ernest, Mr. Bellinger's grandson. He normally does business with you. And I just came to let you know what we have presently. And I want to know if there's anything that you would like to purchase as a result. So he just looked at me, just kept chopping the meat, kept chopping the meat. And he says, at this particular time, there's nothing I want from you. He said, I told your grandfather that. And he said, I don't know why he said you're going to hit. It's not going to make a difference. He said, you black folks are all the same. You know, you always want to be persistent. When I tell you no, I mean no. And the way he said it, it was one in which just let me know that it was time to leave. So, because it was evidently the words that were spoken and the way in which it was spoken was one of a racist.
Okay,
That was one of my first experience.
okay, so now, can I ask you now to concentrate on that moment in that image and tell us, you know, look at it frame by frame, move by move, and tell us step by step your body responses here as imager now. As you see that scene and you concentrate on it in the present tense because it's happening in your consciousness as it replays.
Yes, even now it has me tense. It has me frustrated. It has me even a little angry, you know,
Okay, but
to feel what I felt then.
okay, but you need to look at it in detail, move by move. You know, what are you drawn to first? You know, and let's just give it time.
I'm drawn to the intensity in which he looked at me and the way in which he, without even looking at the meat, just kept chopping it, looking at me as if I was the meat itself.
So, there are several aspects to that. There's the seeing, there's the hearing, there's the moving. So let's just look at it methodically now, step at a time. Or you see something or you sense something in the image, and then you ask your body, where is this touching me? How is this moving me?
Yes, my body is saying now that it's touching me and across my shoulders and in my breasts, my diaphragm. I feel the tension. It's touching me.
What are you concentrating on of all the different factors involved there, one at a time? Are you concentrating on the sound of his voice on the act.
I'm concentrating on the way in which it makes me feel in my body, the way in which it brings the tension, from as a result of the way he's looking at me, chopping the meat as if I'm the meat itself, that he wants to do me harm in that way. And I feel it in my body. I feel the tension. I feel the almost fear
Mhm,
of knowing that he's potentially capable of doing that right there in the moment.
mhm.
And I feel what I felt even then. There was no need to say any more.
Mhm.
And then seeing that, I'm somewhat relieved because it takes me out of harm's way because I simply nod and I back off out the door. But yet he's still looking at me in that way
Mhm.
and still chopping the meat. So
Interesting.
it just brings home to me that that was a traumatic experience for me.
Yes,
It has caused trauma.
yes, yes.
I see how that continued to affect me
Mm-hmm.
throughout years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
How this feeling
Mm-hmm.
is one in which I harbored
Yes, yes,
in
exactly,
response to those situations I found myself in
exactly.
that triggered it.
Yes. So you're stuck with the same response that you recall harboring. Yes. Mhm. And that's what I'm interested in showing you a
It's
way
the
out.
feeling of being treated unjustly.
Yes.
It's the feeling of it reminds me of something as I look at this image of what I read in one of Leah's books.
Mm-hmm.
Where she said a lot of people run from the land. Black folks, they run from the land. It reminds me of the same land that I'm talking about now
Mm-hmm.
in this image
Mm-hmm.
of how my sisters and my brothers and so many of those from my generation and the generation after mine just never went back to the land.
Mm-hmm.
And how so many other people who migrated from the South just never went back to the land. And I know that a lot of land that's there, they end up losing because they didn't continue to pay the taxes or they just forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
Generation lost
Mm-hmm.
and generational wealth that's lost.
Mm-hmm.
The legacy and culture that's lost and our ability to be farmers in the ways in which that was our sustenance. That was allowed us to be self-sufficient, lost.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at that, it reminds me of what Leah said. She said they run from the land because they think the land itself is a part of the crime, but it's only the scene in which the crime was committed. Because it takes them back to slavery.
Mm-hmm.
It takes them back to a time when they were bound to the land in such a way that they weren't free. They were like beasts of burden, enslaved by a slave master to cultivate the land. And after they were free, they had nothing. And that's why some stayed as sharecroppers. But when they left, they ran because they didn't want to no longer be bondage in that way. So when she said it was the scene of the crime, it wasn't the crime itself, that we must reclaim the land for ourselves in such a way that it does continue to offer us that self-sufficiency, that sustenance, that cultural identity, and that respect that we have for the land. Because The land is in context with us, and we are in context with land. One is a reflection of the other. That whole understanding of what it means to be that way was lost also. And that brings up an anger in me. That makes me feel the real impact of that racist attitude that has been challenged with and that continue to make me feel what I'm feeling now.
Well, what I would like to show you as if possible is that by further stepwise concentration on this scene, you can see your way clear of the replay of the bad feelings, the understanding of the negativity of the scene. I'm not denying that.
Oh, no, I can see, I see, I see. I see how I see another me
Yeah,
coming up out of that.
yes.
And I see how that transition was made in my understanding of revisiting the time in which I see myself going back and looking at the land and seeing how me and my sisters used to go and swim in the creek when tide was low, when tide was high. When tide was low, we would go out and we'd catch crabs and shrimps and things of that nature. And we'd bring it back, and my grandmother would fix seafood dishes for us. And when tide was high, we'd go and we'd swim. And even how I would be able to go out into the field and just pick fresh cucumbers, tomatoes, whatever I wanted, straight off the vine and eat it. We had fig trees, we had pear trees, we had peach trees, we had persimmon trees, mulberry trees. You know, how I can go and just pick from those trees as a snack, you know, and live off the land. How it was so liberating, it was so full of joy and delight to be in that environment that offered so much. And I see all the cultural aspects of it too. I see the house that we lived in, that my grandfather's father built, old colonial style house. It was a big house. And I see how we used to sit out on the porch and boil peanuts and snap beans and, you know, together and the harvest that came from that particular day and get it ready for market the next day or store it in the shed. I see how I used to be able to go out. My grandmother would send me out and get eggs out of the chicken coop. I see how she used to catch a chicken sometime and wring his neck, and put him under the water and pump and pluck him. We'll have him for dinner later on or throughout the week or something. I see how we had pigs and cows. It was so, it was, you know, I see just how that can all be reclaimed.
Can you illustrate now, just take one part of what you've just been recalling and let it come alive for other people by concentrating on that one aspect and letting us know how it's playing on your body here and now?
It's liberating.
No, but I mean specifically. But
Yes.
it's different going out for, with your sisters. Each incident is different. It has its distinct energies, and that's what I would like our viewers to see, how distinct each of these images are. That's why they're valuable, because they're so accurate, they're so specific. So just any part of this that you just showed how much you enjoy the sight of, but do some of them one at a time so that people can see.
Yeah, I see me and my sister swimming in the creek. It was a saltwater creek. And I see how I used to like to swim under the water.
All right, as you concentrate on seeing you liking swimming under the water, and you're concentrating on this image that is playing presently in your mind, and you're concentrating on it in the present tense, and you ask your body here as imager, where is this touching me? How is this moving me? And what happens? You see yourself swimming underwater.
I feel the pressure of the water on my body.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the pressure in my chest as a result of holding my breath.
Mm-hmm.
I feel how my legs are moving and how my arms are moving like a frog in the water,
Mm-hmm.
just pushing me, maneuvering me.
So do you see how the sense of your own powers comes alive as soon as you concentrate in that detail? Mm-hmm. So keep going.
I see how I'm able to just continuously hold my breath, and I feel it in my chest. I feel the pressure. I feel that I know when the pressure gets to a point that it's time for me to come up.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel the ability that I've acquired as a result of having done this so many times. I feel confidently so. And I feel how I rise to the top. I'm up out of the water and just simply take a deep breath. And I look around and I see my sister. I heard them when I was under.
Mm-hmm.
I heard them say, "Where's Ed at? Is he all right? Where is he?" Because I was down for so long. And I did that intentionally,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I can arouse their concern. And I pop up out of the water. And they all look at me, and they laugh and they smile. And I go back down again. And I tickle their legs. And they jump. I can, it's so, it's joyful.
So you're showing us how thoroughly it's playing in your body.
Yes, it's a joyful time.
Mm-hmm.
It's one in which I'm connected with the land.
Mm-hmm.
And that and all the joys in which it offers.
Mm-hmm.
I can even see now climbing a tree
Aha.
and eating mulberries. They're black and they're sweet. And they'll stain your hands.
Mm-hmm.
They stain your tongue, your lips. But they're so delicious. Makes my mouth water even now.
Mm-hmm.
Mulberries. Oh, and we even had persimmons. And if you didn't pick the persimmons at the right time, they would tie your mouth open like
Yeah.
that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So you had to know when to eat persimmons. And I remember the pears that used to fall from the tree. The hard ones would still be in the tree, but the ones that was really good for eating,
Mm-hmm.
they already fell from the tree. And we would pick those up and bag them up and take them. My grandma was good. She would make preserves out of them. And she would take it and put it in cold storage in the basement of the house.
So stay in the present tense so that when you go into the past tense,
I am in the present, but yes.
when you go into the past tense, you lose touch with the body responses. So you have to, as you're doing this concentration, keep reminding yourself that for this purpose, in order to get in touch with all those energies which have been submerged in our awareness, you have to let the image play in the present tense in your mind.
Yes, I've visited this image of that land and my connection to it in the way in which I am now, which I receive the benefit of feeling the blessings, the gifts that the land offers.
Mhm.
I feel even now a heavy axe in my hand
Mhm.
as I stand in the coolness of the morning with a slight mist in the air and the dew that's on the ground and the log that I place on the stump. I feel the heaviness of the axe as I raise it and let it come down with a force that splits the log. That in itself is enjoyment.
Is what?
Is enjoyment.
Where are you feeling it exactly in your body?
I'm feeling it in my biceps. I'm feeling it in my hands, gripping the axe. I'm feeling it in my shoulders as I lift the axe to a height and then just let it come down with a force.
So you see that the concentration it takes to take possession of these energies that we've been submerging.
Yes.
Concentration allows them to come alive and operative within us now.
Yes, and I'm seeing even how that wood is burning inside the potbelly stove.
And what happens in your body as you see that?
I feel the warmth. I feel the heat
Mhm. Mhm.
that warms my hands.
Mhm.
I even feel the anticipation as I gave at the sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes that's wrapped up in some aluminum foil.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, I feel almost sad now. I feel a melancholy longing.
A melancholy,
Longing
yes. Mhm.
to be back there. I see me with my grandkids in a house with a big porch in the same spot that the house I lived in is. And introducing them to the joys of that land, of what it means mm, to be a proprietor of land, and how the land takes care of you, and how you take care of the land. That is a reciprocal nature. I see that. I see the joy that they receive also. I see how me as an imager
I'm sorry.
I see how me as the imager,
Mhm.
seeing myself in this image, has found the ability within myself to reclaim the land
Mhm.
and to free myself from whatever trauma I might have experienced as a result of being a landowner
Mhm.
in a way in which my grandfather was subject to that. I see him with all the equipment that he had, the tractor, the trucks, and all the things that he had to do to cultivate the land, to keep it up, all the finances that came in. See how he didn't really manage it that well, but he managed it enough to be a really contributing factor to that community and to his family. But eventually it got to a point where he was in debt. But they kept the land. The land is still there. I feel what he felt when he went into that store and was confronted with that racist attitude. And I see now why he sent me in there,
Yeah, why?
so that I may know,
Mhm.
so that I may know.
And what's happening in your body as you make this recognition of this?
I have an empathy, even a sympathy for him
Mhm.
to know what it was that he was challenged with
Mhm.
as a black landowner at that particular time. And that's only a small part of it. And I can see why he probably even went into debt and how they probably tried to take the land from him as a result. There's some stories I can tell in regards to all of that. But I want to stick with this image. Because when I came back out of the store and he saw me, it was as if he was looking at me to see just exactly what my response was, how it made me feel. And I guess there was like a silent, unspoken understanding between the two of us, without even having to say so, that we had seen each other.
We had seen each other.
Yeah, that we see each other.
Mhm. So what is happening in your body now?
There's a connection. There's a bond that I feel with my grandfather.
Where? Where are you feeling that?
I'm feeling it is a deep resolve in the way in which my body is no longer disturbed. It's in a place of almost feeling stoic,
Mhm.
of standing firm in that recognition, knowing that that's what it takes.
So where else you feeling that? Where specifically?
I feel it in the firmness of my legs. I feel it in my arms. I feel it in my hands. Feel it in my shoulders. I feel the firmness.
Mm-hmm.
Like I won't waver.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding of this moment, of how not to let it make me waver.
Mm-hmm.
And we move on from there. And he understands. And we go to our next place of business.
So as you're moving on, as you see that you're moving on, what's happening in your body now?
It's like a deep resolve.
Where are you feeling that?
I'm feeling it in my shoulders. I'm feeling.
You you see that when you notice these specifics of these body responses, they strengthen your sense of yourself.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
not used to doing it. We kind of skitter away from doing it. At first was sort of embarrassing, but so that's really how we pick up on these energies that we've been overlooking. It's just simple concentration, asking ourselves to look, see, sense.
Yeah, and then seeing this image in the way in which it offered so much to me. I'm also, again, once reminded of something that I read in Leah's book, Soul Five Farm. It was said that it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Mhm.
And seeing that image, I saw the importance of raising strong children. But what was said was a quote by Frederick Douglass. It said it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. I think I shared that with you, and you said you don't necessarily like the word build being there, but to grow.
That's right. Because the build is kind of manipulative. But this way, when you're concentrating on your images now, you are
Growing.
activating the natural growing power that is built into you.
Mhm.
I'm not manipulating you. You're not manipulating yourself.
Mhm.
You're looking. And then eidetic images are vision. They open you to the future. Whereas our memory images, which is where our ordinary consciousness is, gets stuck on replay.
Yes, and that takes me to a place where I'm able to grasp the significance of what it is that she shared, the Frederick Douglass quote, that, it is easier to grow strong children than to repair broken men. So I myself had found myself in a place of brokenness. But I think through seeing myself in the way in which I'm able to see myself now, tapping into that ability, I've outgrown all of that.
Yes. And if you just look at your sisters at this moment, that eagerness in the action and the interaction there, that's what you regain. You realize it's still within you. It's not way back there and gone. It's there to show you something new and anew now to carry on now.
So in growing strong children, I passed it on to my grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that in the image,
Mm-hmm.
repassing that sense of self that I'm
Mm-hmm.
reclaiming onto them.
Mm-hmm.
That's that same stoicism, that resolution that I would not waver in that moment with my grandfather when I came out when we saw each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't waver.
But
That lives on. That gives me strength.
mhm. But what you see when we demonstrate reciprocal vision is that we pick up energies from each other in accordance with our need rather than foisting them on each other.
Mhm.
It's we give our imaginations space and time to pick up on each other's energies.
It's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
And it takes me back to Black Earth Wisdom. And that's what this book speaks of, the soulful conversations with Black environmentalists. And it really speaks to those times when we share our narrative, we share our experiences. you know, that really offers a wisdom which we can continue to live by,
Mhm.
find strength in, because it is our truth.
Find energy in.
Yes.
Mhm.
And tapping into that truth is a way in which I think I've just done.
That's what I love about these images. They're always giving us more, putting us more in touch with our own wholeness and the gifts and powers within us that touch other people's wholeness and
Yeah,
bring it
it's a
to
way,
life.
it's a way to go there. You know, that is all about how to go there
Mhm.
and seeing those images and feeling them, doing the emanation and oscillation and having powers of observation and illumination that brings about mutual
Yeah.
illumination,
Yes.
observation and articulation
Yeah.
that brings about a mutual illumination.
Yeah. And that's what's so gratifying is that that's the nature of this medium. You can rely on it to do that.
Mhm.
When you're just following the right steps,
Mhm.
and especially, step by step, move by move, frame by frame, that's how we give the energies time and space to come forth, and then we can recognize them and they become shareable.
Mhm. Yes.
Mhm.
And I thank you for this time to be able to extend this invitation in such a way that I truly trust and believe um, it will be manifested in the way in which Leah responds. I uh, I hope to go to the viewing tomorrow at the bookstore that the young lady on her website shared with us. And if time permits, where I can quite possibly get back, or maybe even the next day, stay over and visit you. But I think I have to come back because I got a curfew. I'm on parole there. Yeah, we'll work something out. I'll email you, and I'm gonna send you this video. Of course, you'll get this. This is for you. So until then, I'm gonna say peace, and God be with you.
Thank you.
Yes. Say bye, Jenny.
Goodbye, Ernest. Thank you so very much.
Say bye to Leah. You see her later.
Hope to say hello to you sometime soon. All right.
Okay.